51's colours: khaki, tan, sky blue and pale gold. Now, most of these colours can be mixed with a basic selection of watercolours, but I'm going to try something different. I'm going to show you a paint that's not so common as in watercolour. It's an indigo colour, and it's like a dark blue. It's a bit like a blue, such as phthalo blue, green shade, would to have Payne's grey in it. So this is Payne's grey, and you can see it is. Let me just make it wet so you can see better. You can see that Payne's grey is like a black charcoal color, and then this indigo is a beautiful deep, almost like a midnight blue, but it definitely has more of a blueness to it, and that has that black blue color, the Payne's grey. So I'm going to, for khaki, I'm going to mix, I'm going to see what happens when I mix green gold, which is a favorite color of mine in both watercolor and acrylic. It's a yellow, bright, vibrant yellow-green color. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use quinacridone gold for the tan, so that you can see it's also like a vibrant, beautiful, translucent watercolor. And then to create that sky blue color, I might have to bring in something a little bit more brighter. I'm going to see what happens with just the ultramarine blue as first option, and then I'll bring in phthalo blue if needed, if it needs brightening up. But let's see how it goes. I also have white designer gouache to create a more muted color, like a tint or tone where you have the shade and the black version, the shaded color, with the white, creating this neutral color. And then I'm going to add color to it to turn it into a direction. So let me explain that again. So if I have the white and I've got a bit of Payne's grey, I have this opaque grey gouache watercolor, like an opaque watercolor. And if you look at the khaki color there, this is too blue. It's too cool a color. That has more of a green in it. So if I add this indigo color, it makes it darker. And now I have to make it warmer as well. So that makes it more of a blue, less of a gray. And if I add this beautiful quinacridone gold color, it should turn it into a deep green. Add a tiny amount of the small amount of the indigo again. And there's my first color, that khaki color. I'd probably make it a bit lighter. It will become lighter as it dries. Probably just add a little bit of gouache to it to make it a bit lighter. So I used Payne's grey plus white plus indigo and quinacridone gold for that color. Tan should be quite easy. It should be just a mixture of quinacridone gold plus white gouache. So if I have that there, the quinacridone gold, I'm actually going to make a big mixture of it. I'm going to mix all of that up. Or as in add water to it to make sure it's dissolved And then I'm adding the white gouache to it. And the color I'm getting is not quite that. That looks more like a brick red color. So I can go in different directions to get it to be more that red color. I don't think it's going to work by just adding the quinacridone gold to it. Let's see if there's white and more of this. It still needs a bit more depth. It still needs something that's a bit redder. So I'm going to try adding ultramarine. No, not ultramarine. I'm going to add magenta pink. So let's see what happens when I add the magenta to it. So it's magenta watercolor. And that should get it closer to that tan color. And what I could also do is to add the smallest amount of Payne's Grey, and that should help to give it a bit of depth. So let me just mix all the red in, like the red, pink, the magenta. So make sure I've got that all dissolved. I'm going to add a small amount of the alizarin crimson as well. I didn't think it would need it. I didn't think that at first, but it's just not quite red enough. And the red is not like a scarlet red. There's a I want to say almost coolness to it, even though it's an orangey color. It's not like a bright tangerine orange. So I'm bringing in some alizarin crimson, and that should get it to the place where I want it to be. That's the Payne's Grey, white, quinacridone gold, ultramarine, well not ultramarine, magenta. I always say that wrong. It's quinacridone magenta is the proper way to say it. I typically just say magenta. So there's no blue in this, but it should give me the right, the correct color when it's on the paper and dry. Let's see. Let's try that. When that dries, it should give me the color, or close enough to it. Let me write quickly because there's quite a lot going in there. So that was quinacridone gold plus magenta. Then I had a bit of Payne's Grey, and I had also obviously the white, and then in the end I added crimson, alizarin crimson. So that gives me that brownish color. I think it's still not quite there. Now that it's drying, I think it should just have more of the white in again, the white the white gouache. So it should all work out. But it's turned out to be trickier than it ought to have been. It should not have been quite that hard. But sometimes things are just a little bit different than you think it is, and color can be quite fickle. So that is it, with a bit more white prominent on it. Also, the color are a little bit different, I've noticed, on the phone than how it looks on the iPad. It picks up sort of slightly cooler ones. It also depends on the lighting in the studio, and I don't have daylight at the moment. Okay, on with the sky blue. For sky blue, I'm going to start by having white. There's a bit of, my brush is not perfectly clean, so it looks a little bit creamish, but it's very light. It's just from my brush not being perfectly clean. There's the ultramarine. So that turns it into more of a powder blue, cool blue. And the paints, or the phthalo blue, immediately kicks it into more of a warm turquoise blue, what I would describe as a warmer blue to my eye. Color, we all have our own way that we see warm and cool colors, and sometimes people describe a color that goes more to a green color, such as the phthalo, this green shade color, as a cooler color, and for me it is always reads as a warmer color. A bit more ultramarine blue so that it takes away the warmth, what I perceive as warmth, and it turns it into more of a purple blue. And it's just a mixture of the two, then with the white added to it. And that should work. There's no paints gray in it. It's quite a clean blue. So that is ultramarine plus phthalo blue plus white. Okay, and then the last one is pale gold. Get my brush nice and clean. So I'm going to start off using the green gold color. And as you see, it's this beautiful, very, very vibrant greenish goldish color. And to that, I'm adding the white color. Or I'm adding that to the white, I should say. And then I'm going to scoop a bit of the Payne's Grey. And as it blends together, it should give me the pale gold color. Now again, the way I see it, and then I look on the phone, it looks, as I record it, it looks like more yellow pale color, and that is, to my eye here, it is definitely a more, it has an almost grayness to it. It's not so clean, and it's not so light. So I'm going to add a bit more Payne's Grey. And that should become lighter as it dries. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Even though it's still much more, it looks much more green. I'll probably add a little bit brown. Let's see if I add just a little bit of this brown color to it. Brown and grey. What it does to it. No, I need to add more white to it. So I'm going to add just a little dash of white. So that's got Payne's Grey in it. And that color, that looks really, the way I see it, more like a pale color, and on my phone is a warmer color. That should be this color. So there it's a little bit lighter, but a bit of a chameleon of a color. So that had white plus the green gold plus a little bit of the it had Payne's Grey, and then a little bit of the brown mix, the tan mix. I'm just going to put it in brackets because it's not that much that were added to it. And there are the colors for week 51.